Hey everybody, Doug here with 2 Plus Stuff, and today we're going to talk about the new reveals that came out of the Games Workshop New Year's Open Day. I'm very, very excited about that, so let's go ahead and jump in. What's really going to happen is, like I normally do, I'm just going to go through the stuff that they talked about and revealed, and then we're going to come back and then talk about kind of the significance of it and stuff like that. So, let me see if we head over to the GW page, so I won't keep you posted or waiting anymore. Let's head over. And here we are. Sorry, if you're looking for the article, I think they pinned it to the top. They certainly did. Okay, they usually do. And these are kind of put in a weird format where it's kind of like an ongoing blog. And so they always type out what is the most recent thing on top. So we're going to be kind of going in like reverse order backwards. So they dumped a whole lot of pictures on us. It looks like a super fun event. The one that really stood out to me as far as pictures go, where is it? There's one with the crew and Jervis Johnson hanging out and just chatting with people. This one. And I love seeing this for some reason. Over here on the right side, you got Sam Pearson, Jervis Johnson, and I'm sorry, this gentleman's name I don't recall. But yeah, it seems like a huge haul. Hope to go there one day. So, moving down, we have a clearly a 40k person. This is a Chaos Space Marine. I don't know why I'm struggling with words. It's pretty early in the morning here. Haven't had coffee yet. And he's looking sweet. There's no context. They just say they're just going to show you the image, and that's pretty much it. Blackstone Fortress gets an expansion if that's something you're into. It looks like they're adding some alien races. The Ambo, as they call him. Let's move over here. Necromunda. The Ambot, a mechanical brute from the Underhive, is going to Necromunda in a new plastic kit that builds a pair of cybernetic monstrosities. So very interesting. That would be the heaviest model to come to Necromunda. And yeah, I'm glad they're still supporting it. That's super cool. And then they kind of go into what I think is more of the meat for the three systems. Going into when the event opens up, we got a line outside, and Genestealer Cults are revealed. We talked about this the last time they had an open day, something like that, a while ago. When they released the image of the Genestealer Cult guy with the table. The table is actually Games Workshop. Very cool looking models. Each one of these is absolutely astounding. This would be a fantastic, what is it, the Skaven Assassin. I love it. It's a cool pose. This lady's looking pretty awesome. Love the knife in her hand. That's really cool looking. So they got some cool stuff planned for Genestealer Cults. I did have an army of it, but I didn't enjoy painting it as much as I thought I would. So I got rid of them. But these models are stunning. They really are. And of course, we've already seen the motorcycles and the quad. I love it. They have a new piece of terrain, and I think any Skaven player should really take an eye on this, where it's just a huge drill. That's all it is. I love it. So I feel like that would be a great Skaven contraption if you took like the ladders and the wood networks from, what is it, the Plague Furnace and the lightning cannon, and kind of reconstructed them like that with a huge drill. I think that'd be super funny. I always look for bits opportunities. In addition to that, Kill Team, which was a expansion game. I mean, it's its own thing now, but they are making it a competitive style game, complete with its own rules packet specifically for match play, which I'm very excited about. This is the kind of thing that as I go into 2019, I'm looking at traveling to an event, and I want to go to a con, a large one like Adepticon or Nova or something like that, and the idea that like I can bring a box this big and play in an event for Kill Team is exciting to me, and that's something I'm really excited about. So seeing this only makes the game better. And they released a new board for it, it looks like, and that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't want them all to be fought on this 2D board. I think some of the three-dimensional stuff is more fun, but if you're going for match play, I completely understand the balancing factor there. It's always the eternal difference between War Machine Hordes and 40k, where War Machine tables tend to be flat with pieces of felt that tell you where everything is. 40k tends to be more immersive and three-dimensional. The kits they show you, they do have new heroes in either of them. That's an AdMech hero, and the other one is Genestealer Cult with a new Genestealer Cult hero. So they're really playing up that duality. Let's get a picture of these heroes, guys. This guy is sweet. I don't know what I would use him for in AOS. I mean, obviously, I don't play a lot of Kill Team, a ton of it, but this guy looks super cool. I would love him. AdMech leader guy. I love that they're this is a side note. I feel like they're including more body types rather than just buff dudes, and I really like to see that because I think it just makes the characters far more interesting. So let's see here, and then this guy, Wild Wild West dude, I love him. He's so cool. And a new piece of, or scenery set, looks like. And what's interesting is this one would totally work for AOS. There's nothing, I mean, there's a pipe entrance there, but there's nothing so hardcore 40k that this would not work for AOS. I would find a use for this and maybe pick it up just to have more scatter terrain, that kind of stuff. I really do like it. But now we get to what I think I and many of the people are most excited about, which is Warhammer Age of Sigmar stuff. Let's see here. Before I do that, I'm actually going to split my windows here, and the reason I'm doing this is so I can see your comments. And so if you have questions as we go through, please do not hesitate to ask them. Oh crap, I'm grabbing everything. I really need a new mouse. This thing is killing me. And alright, because I like doing this, like being able to see what y'all are saying. So they start off by saying like, hey, y'all know what's going on with the Gloomspite Gits. They kind of have a new preview video, a big beautiful shot with everyone, and we do see in the top left here, top right here, another variant of the dank troll. That's all everyone's calling them, with this one arm weapon up and the other one is armed. That's not the hero variant. I feel like that one was different. Maybe not, but he's holding a huge centipede in his hand like that. Very cool stuff. It's a faction I'm super excited for. If you are curious as to why I don't have any videos going up live, because today the gag order, so to speak, has been lifted. I never received my book, and I'm really bummed about it, but I'll put a pre-order in and get it just the same time as everyone else, and I'll start doing lore videos like I always do. So hang in there. We're all disappointed. As far as anything else, and then we have Carrion Empire, which if you haven't seen, I'm not going to play it because one, there's just not a lot to look at. This picture down here does far more justice. It's kind of a cool bunch of action shots with really funny and characterful music for Carrion Kings, but basically it is Skaven and Flesh Eater Cords dueling it out. It's probably one of those larger boxes that combines existing kits and they throw in a special hero, like they did for Forge Bane was a great example. A lot of existing models, but then they threw in the AdMech stuff and a Necron hero to make it unique. Okay, and with that we get two new heroes, and we're going to investigate these guys. So we're looking at a Flesh Eater Court hero, and one thing off the bat I will say about him is I love that he maintains the same super aggressive dynamic pose. Like the first one's leaning inward, and he is like about to jet off the side of that rock or whatever he's holding on to. Like they both have that like perpetual motion appearance, and I love it. Like they're just bouncing around the battlefield. The things I like about him more though is I wish we had a 360 shot, but that shoulder piece up here, I was pointing with my fingers if you guys could see it. This shoulder piece up here really adds to like he's wearing armor but it's kind of falling apart over time type stuff. Absolutely love it. I love that he has sort of a tiny little wing. The reason that I like that is because if you watch the lore videos about him, he is... Sure, something falling in the other room. Okay, so he's the one that if he gives you blood and mixes it with the carcass of a dragon, he can kind of mutate his followers as he wants. So he can mutate some into crypt flayers, which are flyers. He can mutate some into crypt horrors, which are the big burly dudes on ground. And I like the idea that they included that little wing here because it kind of makes me feel like, okay, yes, he does have the potential to mutate people. It kind of brings that in, whereas the first model, he just looks like a bigger ghoul. And so I really do appreciate that. I love his face. I love the big fangs in the front, kind of has the Nosferatu thing going on. Absolutely stunning model. And you know, this is a small thing, and people who've been spending a lot of time looking at models will notice more, but like just the sense of motion you get from him being here, but also his like cloth down below, like wisping in the wind, just adds to it. I absolutely love it. And then next to him is, of course, probably what's going to walk away being the main event for this, is the Skaven hero, because people are dying to see some Skaven action. It's one of the most iconic factions, and so he is a bombardier. So it looks like he hooks this huge rocket in there and fires it off. How effective he'll be is questionable, like every single Skaven unit. But what is not questionable is if you'll have fun using him, because he looks dope. So yeah, I am super excited about that. I love the tiny detail that we didn't see in a lot of the more recent Skaven releases with the little rats around them. I think that's always fun, and they look great. But I would like to see like a whole set of bits. You know what I mean? I think that would be really great for Skaven. So that's huge. That is the most recent Skaven model since End Times. I think the Storm Fiends came out then. I think so, because it was End Times Thankful, I believe, was when they all came out. All right, so, and then this is the actual set that we're looking at, and this is the one where we can get some real information. So, it looks like in the box, you'll obviously get those 2 heroes. On the Skaven half, you'll get the Storm Fiends, a Doom Wheel, and the Lightning Cannon. Interesting note, everything here makes perfect sense to be Scryer. So if they are not going to do what I hope they do, which is reconstitute all the factions, it looks like there's going to be Scryer is up on the menu first. And Duckbat just made a contribution. Thank you so much, dude. That's so incredibly thankful. I'm thankful. That's very gracious of you. I honestly didn't know I was set up to even receive those. That makes my day. So it looks like it's going to be Clan Scryer. Someone already did the image copy and paste where they took that little Skaven hero and they put the guitar from the Noise Marine set, and he looks like he's shredding, and it's awesome. But yeah, so you have Clan Scryer, and then on the Flesh Eater Court side, remember, this is sort of a horde army, and so you have, looks like 20 ghouls, your hero guy, and then 2 boxes of the horrors and flares. So if you don't know, these 6 dudes up here, they're all from the same kit. It's just how you build them is what they turn out to be. So you could have 6 horrors, 6 flares, or 3 and 3 like they have here. So without knowing what everything does, I'm gonna give my hat in terms of effectiveness to the Skaven stuff, because like that Stormfiend with the Gatling Cannon is going to eat this 20-man blob here for breakfast. And there's likely going to be some flamethrower in there that's going to do the same. But I think they're both great starting points. And like, here's the thing, is like, there was a rumor, and I don't ever put stock in rumors, but this kind of lends a little bit credibility to it, where someone said that they were going to refresh the first wave of battle tomes, like Iron Jaws, Flesh Eater Courts, where's some of the old ones, Fire Slayers, and kind of reprint them, bring them up to snuff, because the rules, not just that the rules are out of date, but the literal language they use to articulate rules is out of date. And so that's huge. And so this would kind of, I don't know, it doesn't lend credibility to it. They've been repackaging units for 40k that aren't getting new books. But it'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting if you could dump a new battle tome with updated 2nd edition rules and mindset and design focus with these 2 factions. I think would be incredible, because I think the Flesh Eater Courts have a lot of stuff going for them in terms of reviving models to existing units. They have a very light and I think awesomely well-balanced summoning mechanic, where you have heroes that can bring a unit on, but it's not overpowering or faction defining. I like that. And then you have a good mix of hordes with heavy hitters. So heavy hitters being the flayers doing mortal wounds, and also the toughness and multi-damage of the horrors. You know, there's a lot of cool heroes and kits. It's one of those things. If you really look, if you are at all interested in the Flesh Eater Court side, I'm just going to take that side for right now. You can build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kits out of it, technically. And the reason I say 7 is because the ghouls, the horrors, and the flares, not only do they build themselves, but they also have an option to build a hero that governs them. So you could build 20 ghouls, and then if you have an extra one, or it's this little dude right here in the front, you make one a standalone hero who is dirt cheap and replenishes that unit. Same thing for horrors and flayers. And so like there's so much versatility, more than any other range in that specific faction. I absolutely love it. So I think once they get like a rules rewrite, an update, a little freshening up, their own spell lore and artifact things that make a little more sense than what they have in the GHB, I think they're going to be awesome. Especially because if they dive headlong into that, the narrative of having like people who are legitimately insane rather than just like reroll ones against blank against whatever you're mad at, I think they could do a lot more damage. Like, they could be very truly frightening. So, and then they have the Scryer side, which the Scryer rules. Hold on a second. Let's see. What Scryer got going on in my book right here. We're doing this. Okay. I don't actually know what their rules are. I know they have the rules that let you take massive hordes, and they have a bonus to their bravery. Skaven Pestilence, Skaven Scryer. Okay, so their big thing. Oh, that's right. They have Warpstone Spark. So basically, they have a new type of resource mechanic they can use, and they can use it for rerolls or adding damage to stuff. Okay, nope, that's super cool. I would like that. I think that'd be great for that, because you have a lot of those things you want to do, either rerolls or you want to do add damage to it. So Warp Lightning Canning, Doomwheel, and also the Storm Fiend. So a lot of high damage, high intensity things that you would want to use that on. So I'm really happy with that. I think that's a super cool box. For me, I love the idea of them refreshing old, not necessarily battle tomes, but just lines of models they have. You give them a cool box, you give them a great way to get into the game. I'd be interested to see if you guys remember, what was it, Blight War? Blight War came out, and it had two factions, Stormcast and Nurgle Demons, and both of those were existing ranges. Nothing was new about them, and there was already a battle tome at the time for Stormcast, but there was never a battle tome for Nurgle Demons at the time, because Magickin was not out yet, and it introduced us to the idea of the Contagion Wheel and a bunch of Nurgle specific things that then came out later as its own faction. And I wonder, here we have a similar thing. We have two factions in a box. One exists with a battle tome, one does not. I'm very curious if we're going to get something for one of them. That would be super awesome. Someone asked if it continues the stories. I really hope it does, and it doesn't have to like move the grand plot forward at all. The thing is that they introduced Flesh Eater Courts and then have been touched or mentioned maybe twice. Like, really? So it's a huge bummer. Again, with the Skaven, particularly Scryer, has really not been mentioned much at all. There's one thing in a Realmgate War book where a bunch of Storm Fiends pop up and try to fight off Hammers of Sigmar, but they get trounced pretty quickly. And there's a few things with Skaven digging and burrowing, but that's not necessarily Clan Scryer. So I think there's more mentions of Pestilence than there is of Scryer. But the point is that these are just two factions that don't get talked about a lot in the books, and so I'd love to have, I mean, they usually have like a little storybook in these kinds of sets where they at least give some context to the models for new folks. And I'd love to see that. So that is that thing. And then we jump into Middle Earth, and I'm going to breeze through this because I don't really like Middle Earth. Then there is Titanicus. More stuff for that. I'm not going to lie to you. Part of me thought this game was dead on arrival because of the price point to get into it. And then Blood Bowl, which is exciting if you like Blood Bowl. I'm considering getting into Blood Bowl. It's a very low barrier to entry. I love this dude. It's a Nurgle guy. I love it. If I was a football player, I would be him, surely. Let's see here. And really that's pretty much it for AOS, which of course is what this channel is mostly focused on. Our big things from the weekend reveal are that set, and then also a whole bunch of kill team stuff. That's all the stuff that's really relevant to me. I'm just going back over. Genestealer Cults were really the golden child if you're a 40k player. So what I'm going to do really quickly is open it up to questions. If you have questions about the stuff, I can go back and try, but Google is fickle when it comes to letting me scroll through things here. Let's see. I'm just going to throw this picture up here while I'm scrolling so we can all look at that. Let's see here. Question, were there plastic kits for the Doom Wheel and other Skaven war machines before this box? Yes. Yep, they've been around for a little while. And they still really hold up. Like, super legit. Question, do you think these refresh battle tomes but in any way get in the way of new releases? No, I think they're all built into it. I don't think anything gets in the way of new anything because it's just part of their, you know, when they're a business and they have to think 3 to 5 years out. I mean, all of these kits that we're seeing, this little rat dude was designed not very recently. He was designed almost 2 years ago, I bet you, because of the work it takes to do those things. And it's such a far departure from the stuff they were already working on that it's part of the plan. I don't think things get in the way at all. It is the way. Let's see here. I'm just getting into wargaming. Should I wait to invest in battle tomes? Steve Parks, if you're waiting to invest in battle tomes, so I would say that they are not an investment. They are just something you grab. If one catches your eye, grab it. Anything that's come out since 2nd edition, so you have Magkin of Nurgle, Legions of Nagash, Daughters of Cain, help me out, fam, Beasts of Chaos, a new Stormcast book, Night Haunt. Those ones are all completely updated, super legit, going to be good for quite a while because they have really sharp rules writings, all that kind of stuff. Those are all completely cool. I love the stories in all of them. Like, if I could own them all, I would. I wish I had been collecting them and rather than trading or selling them when I first started the channel many moons ago. But I didn't have room in my last apartment. And then I started giving them away for patrons and stuff like that. But point is, you know, if you get them for the art and the story, they're always a good purchase. If you're looking to something to stay up and to date competitively, those 7 or so that I just mentioned when 2nd Ed came out to now, those are probably the ones you want to stick with. Let's see. Kenji said, well, they sort of redid Stormcast Battle Tome for 2nd edition. Do you think it would be released sort of like that? Probably. And the kind of releases that I want are not extreme. This is exactly what I want. Give me a Flesh Eater Court Battle Tome that already exists, freshen it up, rework some of the verbiage and the rules because there's a lot of things in there that aren't great. And then, you know, tune it and then give me one hero model. That's all it is. It's just a hero model. But they actually have the names for them here. What is it? The Arborant, Mordant Empire, even more vicious, and Regal. He's a Mordant Emperor. Okay, so he's a new level. Power level 9,000. And let's see here. Oh, Shadow, thank you so much for helping out, man. That's super kind of you. Thank you so much. I'll click on that in just a second. We'll answer those questions. Thank you. Expert armed with the Doom Rocket. What is he? While the latter is a demolition expert armed with the Doom Rocket, a weapon. So, and they don't give his name. Anyway, point being, if you just throw me like a single model and a battle tome, we've already proven that totally works for Beast of Chaos. Let's just do that. Does it continue the lore? We have no idea, but I hope it doesn't have to move it forward. It just has to include the two factions doing something fun and flavorful. Let's see. Oh, I lost where I was with the questions. Do you think there will be radically new rules for Skaven in this box? Probably not radical, unless they do the thing they did with the Contagion wheel for Nurgle. But even then, it was presented as just part of that set, not necessarily a battle tome thing. So I'm not sure. Is Clan Moors in Age of Sigmar? Which one is Moor again? I don't remember that one. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Let's see here. Kenzie nailed it. It's Eshin, Pestilence, Scryer, and Molder. And there is also Verminous, which is the Clan Rats and Storm Vermin. And the Warlord, whatever like that. So, yeah. Let's see here. Do you think the Flaming Chaos guy is coming to AOS at the top of the page now? No, the Flaming Chaos guy is, I think, certainly, he matches... I have Blackstone Fortress, and he matches perfectly the Space Marines in there. That is clearly power armor. What's interesting is that he looks more, I guess, like radical and ridiculous than any Chaos Space Marine stuff they've ever done. So it looks like it fits in fantasy with the way that we've been producing models, and particularly Fire. But yeah, he's definitely a 40k dude. I'm curious to see how big he is compared to Primaris. Also looks like he's jumping. Yeah, those both of his feet off the ground. Okay. Sean Dog, wish I could stay and watch more, but work says otherwise. Thank you for the amazing content. Thank you so much for being so awesome. It means so much to me. Let's see here. And yep, and they've popped up a few times as Skaven. Kenji said they led to the exposure of Deepkin and Shyish. That's true. There were a few, but it wasn't specifically Scryer because all Skaven have access to the Gnawhole stuff. And so what I'm talking about is a dedicated story for those two factions. There's just not many. Flesh Eater Courts have a few shout-outs and some Josh Reynolds books. But that's mostly it. Bill Wilson, question. What are your thoughts on the low-stakes storyline and theme of Grots? They aren't likely to end or save the world. How do you invest in them when they're a bit of an unintentional joke? Well, I mean, I have the same problem with my Beasts of Chaos. They don't, they're not movers and shakers when it comes to the grander narrative. But what I guess I would say to that is, what do you want in the game? Because realistically, like if I was going to get into 40k, I would play Chaos or Imperium. I bought a bunch of Space Wolves because I want to play one of those two, because in that setting I want to be part of the movers and shakers, right? The people who shape the future of the narrative. In AOS though, I don't necessarily feel that way. For some reason, it's just I love the world that they've created, the world they've built, and I think that Moonclan Grots definitely play a role in that. Because you have to imagine, even if every other faction isn't guided by their actions, they're affected by the fact that there seems to be this celestial body called the Bad Moon. Whenever it comes near, things go to absolute garbage. You know what I mean? I think if you wanted to focus on things that are truly drive the lore, your big factions are going to be Legions of Nagash, Stormcast Eternals, or pick your flavor of Chaos God. I think that's really it. Khorne was really prevalent in the first wave, and then it was Tzeentch, and then it was Nurgle. So my money is on Slaanesh if you want to get ahead of the wave. So it's true. You call them low stakes. But what I do hope is that as the Black Library writers kind of go forward in the lore creation, that they do start including those other things as threats that have to be accounted for when these factions are battling it out. I'm going to go down to the Moonclan Grot stuff while we talk about it, just for reasons. And so, like I said, I agree with you to an extent that they are low stakes in the sense that they're not going to have a big impact on the grander narrative, but they do contribute to the things that those grander narratives have to consider. Nagash has to consider that this, what we're looking at literally right now on the screen, exists, and it will interfere with his plan. Again, they're probably not going to get any new models for the next 5 years. That's what you got to be ready for. I am emotionally prepared to never receive another Beast of Chaos model for the next 5 years. But yeah, and then, so that's my suggestion. Is just, what are you looking to do in terms of storytelling? If you want to be on the forefront of every book, if you want every book, Stormcast Eternal, 100% all the way, no questions. If you want to be on the opposite end, like whoever the current villain in, that kind of rotates typically. But right now we're looking at Death as a prominent one, and then also Chaos is always there. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You say, how do you invest in Grots when they're a bit of an intentional joke? Yeah, I mean, that's what they are. I mean, they're meant to add... Everything is so dark in AOS, and they are also dark in many, many ways, but they also add a lot of character and flavor and fun. And, you know, I think just the ego of each of the war bosses in charge makes pretty much every engagement possible, and cool stories to tell. Yep. I have more trouble with coming up with a leader, not initiative. I'm trying to think of motivation. I have a harder time coming up with character motivation for my beast lore than I would for a Moonclan Grot war boss who just wants to conquer everything. So let's see here. So I'm trying to kind of fall behind it here. Oh yeah, I did miss the name, didn't I? Nope. Let's see here. Arborant Archregent and the Warlock Bombardier. Thank you everyone for pointing that out. Okay. Do you think Skaven will ever get flying machines? That'd be really cool. I would like it. If they get flying machines, Velociraptor 2011, I want them to have very well-written rules for what happens when they crash. Like, I would love that so much. If they could purposefully, as they know they're going down, crash into a unit and make them blow up. I want it to be more fun. If you play 40k, there are things as if a vehicle blows up, you roll a die on a 6, it does mortal wounds to people around them. I want it to be far more than that. Like, I want it to be part of the damage that you kind of calculate when you actually purchase the model. Like, I'll pay more points for something that intentionally blows up and hurts somebody. I think that would be super cool. All these Black Legion stuff for 40k has me hankering to build an undivided Word Bearer's Force to pair with my Death Guard. Yeah, that's probably, I mean, if these models had come out a month ago, that's exactly what I would have done. Word Bearers are my jam because they can summon anything. They're kind of undivided. They are the Chaos Undivided, up there with Abaddon and Black Legion. But I went with Space Wolves because I wanted to push myself to do good guys for once. Question, when do you think Skaven as the entire faction will receive its own codex or rulebook? I have no idea. Hopefully this year. Hopefully 2019. You know, if we're going with the Blight War leading to Maggotkin scenario, that was about 4 months. So let's say when this drops 4 to 6 months later, we maybe get a Skaven book. That'd be kind of cool and reasonable, I think. Duckbait, how long? Sorry, Duckbat. Sorry, Duckbat Gaming. How long until the Skaven overthrow the lesser races in Rising to the Top? Soon, my friend. I hope for soon. Let's see here. August. Morning, Doug. Painting up some Corn Demons, but love the new Fleshier model. Totally gonna get them for my FEC army. Yeah, dude. They are super legit. Question, what model painting project and what faction are you doing right now? If you don't know, I am doing Beasts of Chaos. I'm going to be playing them all of 2019. I will have other painting projects throughout there, but right now I am painting a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and a whole bunch of Spawn because I am playing Gave Spawn, the Great Fray. I don't know, I can't remember that. Great Fray that when your hero dies, they turn into a spawn, and it's absolutely awesome. It is probably the most fun I've had in Age of Sigmar. And let's see here. Okay, well, if anyone has any more questions, go ahead and type question in all caps on the side there. Otherwise, I'm just going to ramble on my final thoughts about the open day and what this means. If you recall, I'm kind of comparing this to last year's open day where we got Custodes in 40k as a full army with jet bikes and new heroes and all that kind of stuff like that. So I think if that's what you're looking for, they did a really good job following up that between the Chaos, I'm going to call him a chaplain because it's kind of what he's reminiscent of. Particularly the Dark Angels chaplain guy, very reminiscent of that. Supplements for their smaller game franchises, and then the pride and joy of 40k right now is the Genestealer Cults. So I think they did a good follow-up to that. Kill Team, I'm a little bit curious about this one. So let me see, make sure I'm not, okay, I'm not blowing your eardrums out. I'm kind of torn because I feel like this probably does increase the matched play-ness of it all. Like if you want to do like tournament stuff. I also think it loses something with the three-dimensional aspect. Like this game board they have here, it just doesn't strike me as interesting as other stuff. However, if you play 40k or have been playing it for a while, Zone Mortalis, which is a super small scale thing, it's just 40k at a very small scale, but you're more interacting with doors and computers and stuff like that. It looks very reminiscent of that, which is very, very cool. So between those, a lot of new models revealed. So I think it's very much on par with what happened last time, or the last year's. And I think it'll be pretty awesome. A little light on the AOS stuff. That's okay. You know, I think we're going to have our time in the sun with all the Moonclan releases, but I'm pretty excited about it all. Got some questions here. Kenzie, tips for painting fiery effects. I'm going to be doing blood letters with red and orange highlights. I'm actually going to do a video tutorial about that this weekend. I'm going to work on that probably this evening. Basically, I do get it all base coated in Celestia Gray, a little bit of white scar, make it all perfectly white, and then kind of build up with Uriel yellow and do the tips with orange, which I'll go through, and then basically do washes of the Cassandra yellow and the Fugen orange. And people got really disappointed because, of course, at the New Year's Open Day, the first thing they revealed was Custodes for the Imperium. And so people were like, I don't know, outraged, but they, of course, did then follow up with all the codexes and 40k for the Xeno stuff. I don't like the year of thing when it comes to product releases because that means it's the not year of for 3 other factions. So I don't think that is good for their business. I don't think it's fun for most of their clients. Yeah. So what I would like to see, I do think that destruction needs the most love. They're getting it right now with the Moonclan Grots, for sure, without question. I think ogres need a battle tome. And then on the chaos side, slaves to darkness, dark oath, whatever, they're human elements of chaos undivided need a battle tome. But beyond that, then it's just kind of pick whatever you want. Like those are the things that are important when it comes to, I think, world building and developing what's going on. Yeah, so I'm going to say no to taking off order for a year because there's factions in there that I think dispossessed need a book. Humans need a book. Let's see here. Joel, Arena reminds me of Imperial Assault Board, which the use for tournaments with doors and for line of sight blocking. That makes sense. I haven't actually played Imperial Assault, but I hear good things. Let's see here. Last year it was Supposable Death, and we got Daughters of Cain, Ina Deathchem, so I don't think they focused on one thing. Exactly. They don't. They can't because it doesn't make them money, you know, because you don't want your consumer base to tune out for an entire year. That would be bad for business. And so if everyone was like, oh, they're just not going to focus on my thing, I'm checked out. You know what I mean? But like, you better believe there's a bunch of Flesh Your Court players. They're like, oh my God, we still exist. So yeah, I think what they need to do is, I think they could focus on like the year of when it comes to their story arcs. Like we're still technically in the Soul Wars Malign Portents arc right now. The first one being Realmgate Wars, where it was all order versus chaos. Now it's all everyone really versus Nagash. Because remember the opening stories were destruction armies showing up in Shyish. Order obviously, but chaos was there. The War Queen was introduced, so all those things. So it definitely is everyone versus death, and I would like it if that continued, right? Like I wouldn't mind if we had a year of everyone versus destruction, because that means is, hey, we're releasing a destruction army and also a bunch of stuff to fight destruction. That makes perfect sense, and it's different than saying the year of destruction. I think that kind of sets a different expectation, just by nature of people. When you hear it's the year of destruction, it means that destruction gets all the love in the releases and the new models. But when you say it's everyone versus it, that means a lot of things, and I think that's far more interesting as a consumer. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for the kind donations. It means so much to me. And also just tuning in to check out these releases. If you just joined us, go ahead and start again. We dove into the contents of this box, talked about possible Allegiance ability releases, stuff like that. And I will talk to you all very soon. This coming week, I am kind of in a scramble to make content because I was going to do the Gloomspite Gets lore videos this weekend, but my battle tome that they said was coming never came. And so I'm a little bit bummed about that. But I will be putting together a painting tutorial for Fire, and then also a few other things just to kind of hold the line, so to speak. And so I look forward to that. Look forward to also a paint and hang out with me a few times this week whenever I get a chance. I don't have a scheduled time or anything like that, as I paint up a whole bunch of spawn and fun stuff like that. So until then, thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you really, really soon.